I'm Jonny Smith.
I'm Richard Porter.
And this is Smith & Sniff, a podcast in which two friends talk about cars and many other things. Listen, I could start this podcast by talking about the huge racoon decal, which I saw on the bonnet of a RAV4 yesterday. But
Sorry.
Why?
Which bit of a raccoon?
Its face.
Okay.
It was a circular decal on the bonnet of a first-gen RAV4, which I've seen a lot of lately, oddly. I don't know why. Maybe it's the season. They're all coming out of hibernation. Yeah. But this huge racoon decal, which was probably 2 feet in diameter. And there's so many questions there, but I was on the move, and so I couldn't take a photo. I just remembered it and thought I must talk about this. So that's brought up a couple of questions. But yesterday I was driving back from France, and I saw 2 lorries which made me really giggle. They sound like either 2 shit superheroes or or I don't know, band members. I'm going to bring to the party Max Log and La Raoul.
Max Log.
I think it's a logistics company, and it just has in huge letters up the side and the back of the lorry, Max Log, L-O-G. Maximum
L-O-Gs.
Log. Max Log.
Is it? Do you think that is just short for maximum logistics?
That was the only, because I was behind it for about 10 miles. That's the only conclusion I can come to. But of course, me, with my silly Smith and Sniff head, kept thinking about dirtiness and giggling a lot. But yeah, it was definitely a foreign lorry. It was not a British company. But Max Log, I'd like to know whether it does mean maximum logistics. But I probably wouldn't have shortened it.
No. No.
And so then we had...
What was the other one?
The other one was La Raoul. Do you know the person's name Raoul? Which can I just say?
The Raoul.
The Raoul. Okay, and it's a beer company. It turns out it's a French blonde beer company from the north.
Okay.
And the logo of it was a guy basically, drinking some beer. But I have to say, it made me think to myself, the Raoul. I don't know why. I don't know why, but the name Raoul just makes me laugh. I can't hear the name Raoul and just giggle a bit like a kid. And I'm like, what is it about Raoul?
I think it's the way you're saying it. You're saying it like a cat.
Raoul. Oh, yeah, I am. I'm sort of Austin Powersing it, aren't I?
Oh, yeah. Or the cat from the Charlie Says ad campaigns of the 70s.
Oh, yeah. That cat had a mad mouth, didn't it?
Yes.
Its mouth was all over the place.
Yeah.
Silly cat.
So Maximum Log.
Max Log and La Raoul. I'd totally watch that detective show, wouldn't you?
just Log and La Raoul would do the job.
I love the fact that the guy's name's Raoul, but you just want to call him the as well. He's not just Raoul. He's the Raoul.
It feels like that's in the same spectrum as referring to yourself in the third person.
Yes.
Call yourself the Raoul. It's just the association with that. Do you want to go and get some food? No, the Raoul's not hungry.
Is it like Gemma Collins? She refers to herself in the third person. Yeah, she says the GC. The JC won't do that. The JC refuses to do that.
That's madness, isn't it?
I think it is madness. That's what I'm going to say. Yeah. So in a space of 2 hours, racoon decal, Max Log, La Raoul. I was giggling. That was good because I was coming towards the end of some quite heavy motorway work, so it really lifted the mood for me, which I'm very glad about.
Good. Before we go any further and I forget, I have to say a big thank you to our mate Dave Mole from Birmingham Car Keys.
Oh.
Who has once again stepped in the best possible way. Dave has sorted me out with a new key for my Panda, and while he was at it, he went, I've got some different keys for my Range Rover, because that era of Range Rover has a really massive key that's annoying in your trouser pocket. But
it's the size of a camera, isn't it?
Yeah, ridiculous. A 90s camera. It's like carrying, or an 80s one, carrying a 110 camera around with you. So, yeah, he just said, I've got some proper but modern Land Rover remote fobs in my van. I can just code up a couple of those for you, and then you get the newer style Land Rover key. Brilliant. He sorted your box strap, didn't he, as well? Like, proper job on that with the flooded ECU. Dave
Car Keys, as he is in my phone, Dave Car Keys of Birmingham, he's done the Boxster with all of that ECU unit, but he also did the Honda Element, which had a strange aftermarket immobiliser issue and started to ignore its own key and was getting very angry with me. And I actually missed the school run once as a result of it. And Dave, being Dave and fantastic, went, I know how to solve that. And while he was there, did me a pair of period correct Honda spare keys. So I'm like, Dave is brilliant. Birmingham Car Keys, big up you.
Yes. He's not paying us to say this, but he is a bang-up chap, and whenever we've asked him for help or advice, he's been there like a shot. So, yeah, I just messaged him because my Beat came with one key, obviously not original, and even just looking at it, it sort of looked a bit soft, a bit worn away. And sometimes in both the door lock and the ignition, you had to sort of do a bit of jiggling and fussing about.
Yeah.
So I just messaged Dave and I said, is this likely to be the key, or is it just the 90s spec barrels are all worn? And I sent him some photos of the key, and he was like, I think I can sort this. And I'm heading down to Bristol next week. I can pop in and see you. So sure enough, he worked his magic and he did me 2 proper Honda keys, period, sort of looking nice little stubby old school keys, but cut them. Because I was like, if you put them in your machine, won't the machine just replicate the softness of the existing key? And he went, nope, doesn't work like that. It's, it's much cleverer, as it turns out. So I've got these really crisp, sharp. I mean, you could cut bread with them, these keys. They're so sharp compared to the one it came with. And they work beautifully. And now it feels like all the locks just instantly. It's brilliant. So it was just the key getting a bit worn. Well, so Dave, thank you ever so much.
Thanks.
For making my Beat a pleasure to use.
But also...
so if you are in the sort of Midlands or down towards my way-ish, then Birmingham Car Keys.
He goes all over it.
Sort you out.
He goes all over, mate. In fact, I tested him, funny you should mention this, because I tested him last week, because I found a very cheap 2007 Mercedes Avant-Garde convertible for sale in London. And it was going for so cheap, but right at the bottom it says, this car has no keys and must be removed within a week. And so I messaged the owner and went, I just want to check that you actually own the car first. He went, yes, I can prove I own the car. I just don't have any keys. So I forwarded the ad to Dave Car Keys and went, Dave, is this a mission that you could take on? He went, he just replied to me and he just went, seen the ad, that'll be no problem for me. And I thought, the confidence in that man, I could have immediately summoned him then and gone, right, I'll see you in Middlesex tomorrow. We're buying a Mercedes Avant-Garde Cabrio for 450 quid. But I didn't. I refrained. But Dave could have. And that's what I like about Dave. He's a can-do.
Yeah, he is a can-do, exactly. He's a very can-do guy. So thank you, Dave. It's really helped. Also, sorry, I won't do this every week, but just a little update on my Beat, because the weather has been very good. And so I've been zooming about the place with the roof down. I was driving through the small town of Radstock, not far from me. In Somerset.
Yes.
And I stopped at some lights at a pedestrian crossing. Some people crossed over, and as they did, I heard this very, very West Country woman go, "Look at that car! It's so tiny."
You need to get a little external microphone or camera to capture that kind of.
I don't need to. I could just go, "Yes, I know it is," because I've got the roof down. I've forgotten how, particularly in a very, very small convertible, you do feel quite exposed sometimes, don't you? Like you're basically just standing there almost.
Oh,
or sitting there. You're just sitting there. You're sitting in the road and people can see your trousers and all sorts.
Do you remember when taking photos, you had to be done with a film camera, so it was more of an event? You'd had to pick your moment and frame a photo with a bit more thought than we do now, just firing off 4K video here and there. Don't you think that it's almost a rite of passage? But when kids were young, or when we were young back in the olden days, there would be a photograph somewhere of you sitting in an adult's boot or a shoe as like a toddler.
Oh, yeah.
Or a baby.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's the image I get of you driving around in the Honda Beat. You're driving around in an adult's red shoe.
I mean, it does worry me that I look like I've taken one of those kids ride on little electric cars, the ones that rich kids have.
Yes.
So they might be the shape of a Veyron or an Evoque or something with no roof on it. I just think I look like.
But yours is an actual MOT'd
it's an actual
car.
Yes, and it's got. Tell you what though, I took it because when I bought it, because the guy I bought it off bought it in Japan when he lived there, and then brought it back to the UK with him, and I couldn't see a date marker on the tyres, and he was like, "They're quite old, these tyres," and they weren't even matching brands. I hate stuff like that.
Oh gosh!
So had new tyres put on it last week. Which the joy of having a car with really skinny tyres on it.
It's great.
It's quite delightful that it wasn't a fortune to have new tyres put on it. But at the tyre place, they were going nuts for it.
I do love a narrow tyre. My Insight has silly tyres. I think they're 155s. And,
are they?
Yeah. So you go, right, well, I'm going to buy some really high quality Continental low rolling resistance tyres, and even when you do that, they're like, right, that's going to be £55 each. Okay, let's do that. Whereas
yes.
Talking of tyres, I think I shouldn't say this to you on air really, but I think the Eagle Quest needs a pair of fronts. Yeah,
I can't. What size are them?
I can't. They're actually not narrow. They got very chubby sidewalls. They're quite quilty looking tyres. They look like, do you know what they look like? A rotund man with a very tight barber jacket on.
Yes.
They are, I think they're 195 65 14s or something like that. They're probably
14s.
I think they're 14s or 15s, but they're going to be really expensive because I know those sizes of tyres are not common anymore. So we're probably going to pay more than if they were 19s or 20s.
The problem I had with the Beat is that it has different size wheels front and back.
Staggered, mate.
Yeah, they're 155s on the front, 165s on the back, but they're also 13s on the front and 14s on the rear, weirdly.
Yeah.
So, and if you want the same type of tyre, that just makes it harder. Because I found some Dunlops, but they only had them in the size for the front, not the back. So it's like, okay, I won't have those then. Because my nerdy, pedantic brain goes, I quite like just matching brand all round. Even though I know it's probably fine if they're the same across the axle, but it's just, So
same across the axle. Listen to you.
I know. Are they? God, they can't. But they must be. Are they 15s on the Eagle? Or are they 14s? Because
I think maybe they are 15s. I'll have to dig up a photo.
If they're 14s, you could go through with your threat of buying those Ronal Teddy Bears off Facebook Marketplace. Do
you know what? I just think it would look so god awful. I kind of want to. A limousine on Ronal Teddy wheels. I mean, would just make people gag when it rolls up. But also, I'd like to paint each bear. So I could give each wheel each of the four wheels to local artists, or actually just a children's play group, and just say, could you paint these, and then I'll get them lacquered and then put them on and just see what happens. It would just look so appalling, won't it? Maybe we should do that for Festival of the Unexceptional, just for like a special occasion wheel.
Bloody hell.
What?
Well, I'm just looking, the first website that's come up claiming to know wheel and tyre sizes for the Senator B.
Yeah.
And it's listing the PCD and all sorts in it, but it does seem to suggest they're 14s.
Ooh.
Or are they? Yes, no, I think they are.
Well, all I know is that ours is a stretch, and when you take a a photo of its profile, it does just look like a skateboard or one of those tray trolleys you get in B&Q for putting planks of wood on. It's a very long wheelbase and then 2 tiny wheels that are almost hidden. Like prawn eyes. They're like prawn's eyes. You could say I've got prawn eye rims, which just means they're so small and insignificant compared to the body of the car. I'm rolling on prawn eyes.
Well, so hang on. I found on eBay someone is selling some of those cross spokes.
Oh, are they?
For a Senator.
Oh.
They're 15s.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so...
Yeah, so we'd probably...
Maybe we are on 15s.
The 14-inch Ronal Teddy Bear may not clear the brake discs. Who knows?
We'll see. We'll see.
There's only one way to find out.
Do you know what? If we do go down to 14s and they clear the disc, we will be prawnising our way into the Ronal Teddy world. That'll be amazing.
But the thing is, you could then try and, if possible, go up even higher on the sidewall.
Oh, completely.
And then the ride would be even more sumptuous.
The ride on that car is so good. It's so really exciting. Good, yeah, it's exceptional.
A quick search suggests that you can get Ronal Teddy Bears, or you could, in 15-inch.
What, and they sold in excess of 36 sets worldwide?
There's a company here called Euro Alloy. Jesus Christmas. Okay, so
they sell some terrible wheels, do they?
There's a set of 4 Ronal Teddy Bears in 15-inch. They are sort of gunmetal grey as well.
No, well,
I remember the original Teddy Bears having these faux split rim details around the edge, but
I don't think they do.
These are new school Teddy Bears, sport Teddy Bears. Clearly, they're bloody awful.
Are they expensive?
They are £849 for the set.
God.
Oh, they're out of stock as well. Oh, that's a shame.
Do you know what? I hold that thought. I might do a render of the Eagle Quest with Ronal Teddies on.
Okay.
Just for...
do it.
Yeah, I think it could be fun.
Is this one of your renders that you're going to do on a Post-it note with a biro?
Yes, I'm good at those renders, aren't I?
They're my favourite.
And then I take a photo of the Post-it and send it to you via WhatsApp. I'm such a backwards idiot.
Proper craftsmanship, that is.
Yeah.
Since we're doing sort of little bits of housekeeping, I just also, because I keep meaning to mention this and then keep forgetting, which is terrible. But we had lots of people recently asking about the fate of all the old Top Gear cars from the Bewley Museum, which has closed its Top Gear exhibit after many, many years. And I just kept meaning to mention on the show that a lot of the cars have been rescued by the Grampian Transport Museum up towards the top bit of Scotland. So I think a chap called Jonathan from the museum got in touch with us and invited us up to see them. It's a very long way away, and I had to say we probably won't make it for the opening, which I think was last month, on the 28th of March. So the museum, the Grampian Transport Museum, should now be open with its Top Gear exhibit, and they've got loads of the old stuff, including, I think, the indestructible Hilux on display. So to answer the question we've been asked quite a few times, yes, a lot of the collection is safe. You can go and see it. It's in a different museum. It's being looked after. So tip of the hat to the Grampian Transport Museum and everyone there for stepping in to save a load of the old Top Gear cars.
Well, and Jonathan, thanks for getting in touch. If you ever get bored of, I don't know, cutting yourself on the Hilux every time you walk past it,
it is a bit, yeah.
I want first refusal on that car because that's my favourite Top Gear stupid crap car that you guys ever did. I absolutely love that series. That would be mine. So please, I'm serious. There's cash here. Possibly an Eagle Quest as Partax. I don't know. With or without Ronal Teddy Bear wheels. Yes. Or maybe I'll put the Hilux on Ronal Teddies just to look even more shit.
Yes. It's indestructible, but you've managed to effortlessly destroy its credibility with one wheel change.
That's right.
Now, while I'm in the folder of people's emails, there's something else that caught my eye the other week, and it's from a listener called Adam, who had heard us talking about Joss Stone. I think
Yes.
we had some half-assed plan to make Joss Stonehenge, and I can't even remember the details. But anyway, Adam says, you mentioned a certain barefoot songstress. Well, Joss Stone actually went to my school, Ufcombe Secondary.
I was about to say would be in Devon, yes.
She lived within the area when I was a kid. I must say she didn't attend the school when I was there due to an age gap. However, guys, Joss was a helmswoman of sweet Nissan Heritage vehicles.
Oh.
A true Micra K1011 sweetheart.
Was she?
Joss drove a Nissan Figaro in that brave pink.
Okay.
She had it down at a garage in the sleepy, ghostly village of Hemyock.
I remember Hemyock. I don't remember it being
Hemyock?
ghostly. Hemyock, yeah. I remember that place. It's still there, Yeah.
So Joss used to putt along in her little Figaro, her 2000s curled hair flowing in the winds. The garage also had a minty green Figaro, which was apparently also hers, and looked like it was getting some restoration work.
Oh, maybe she bought a backup Figaro.
Yeah, which, as you know, figs rust, don't they? So it's a very sensible, if you've got the means from a platinum selling album or two, get a spare Figaro. Adam goes on to say this garage also had a Vauxhall Combo with a Corsa B face in TVR-esque purple flip paint with Wolf Race alloys, a max power front bumper. It was all very 2000s. Rumour had it the mechanic was her boyfriend.
Oh.
He says, he finishes by saying he thinks that people seeing Joss's Figaro inspired them because a few more seem to pop up in the village.
Really? Yeah. Hemyock's full of Figaros.
Yes. He concludes by saying, Joss Stone, the trendsetter, the icon of Nissan heritage. Well, there we go. That's interesting information.
Thanks, Adam. That's
from the West Country.
I wonder if Joss would revisit the K11 Micra thing. I bet she's still got her Figaro. I wonder if anybody knows if she's still got one or both of the Figaros. Is Figaros?
Yeah,
because that would be really good,
wouldn't it? It's just funny, but also there's something. And now you say it, you go, yeah, of course, Joss Stone's got a Figaro. I mean, it just seems to suit her. Yeah, somehow.
I wanted to read out a letter from 2024. From a lovely guy in Ontario, Canada, called Larry.
What the fuck?
Well, we get a lot of letters, and some slip through, some don't. Most do. Sorry, but this is not an otter. This is not a question, because obviously that's our other show, Ottersot, where we attempt to answer questions. This is from Larry. Jonny Richard, this morning I listened to your episode number 274, in which you described a lady you witnessed unknowingly sweeping the road with her clothing extended from beneath the car door. Years ago, there was a segment on the CBC here in Canada which solicited from its audience words that didn't exist, for which there was a need, in the vein of the comedian Rich Hall's books, Sniglets. One time they asked what the word would be for exactly that scenario, and for my money, the best submission was undercarment. Every time I see, or in this case hear, this happening, where usually a lady has trapped a coat or a skirt in the car, my mind immediately goes to that word, the undercarment, which is street sweeping in a stray skirt. I think, thanks, Larry, it's only taken us a year maybe not quite a year to reply to your fantastic letter. And that is true. And weirdly, this was total accident that I found this old letter. Total accident that I saw this happening day before yesterday. It was a really high patterned spring dress or something. And it was peeping out of the driver's door. But I nearly put my hand up to say something to the lady because I was a pedestrian. And I thought, no, I sort of did that thing of, I won't, because if she does an emergency stop and then someone hits her from behind or something, I'll be responsible. And she'll go, I don't care about the fact my skirt's trapped in the door, you idiot. Now I've got, I don't know, someone in a Nissan pickup truck's just stove the back end in. Oh well, never mind. So I just didn't. I'm sorry about that. Does that make me an absolute pussy? I don't know. But
No, but I think it's really good that you, rather than just act on impulse, you thought through the potential catastrophic consequences of your attempt to be thoughtful. You did a quick risk assessment and you decided against it. It's fine. Because, what if that woman was a nurse or a doctor or a vet on her way to do important work?
Yeah.
And then couldn't, a slightly grubby dress, she could still do heart surgery, but if her car's been written off, she can't make it to the hospital in time. So,
well, do you know what I did?
Did the right thing.
I was about to open my mouth and lift my hand, and then I went, do you know what? This sounds like this could be a job for Max Log and La Raoul. So I didn't. So I just left it at that.
Max Log runs after cars, but in that style of running where you make your hands like blades. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yes. Like a T-1000 in Terminator 2.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Very dramatic running.
Yeah. Oh, that's very good. Tom Cruise is a good runner like that, isn't he?
I was about to say Tom Cruise does a bit of that blade hand running, doesn't he?
Blade hand, yes. He very much is like that. I've tried to do it before. I think I'm mostly pissed when I try it, so I can get up to VMAX and stay there for about 20 seconds. And then I think I'm going to have a heart problem.
Sometimes do it when I'm going upstairs.
Oh, yeah, I do that.
In the house.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I do loose arm running upstairs. Where I just let one of my arms go really floppy for no reason at all. I don't know why.
I tell you once about me and my brother having a competition at home to see how few steps we could touch going down the staircase. And our staircase turned in 3 different ways. So it went down a bit left, and down. And it had a banister as well. My brother once managed to get down the stairs. I think he touched one stair and nearly broke his ankle. He jumped. He jumped so high and then used both his hands to, like, in the air, just pull himself around on the banister. So he went around a corner in the air, like parkour, really, in the 80s parkour. and he landed so hard and aggressively. I thought he was going to go through the actual wooden stair because it landed so hard on it. And I thought if Dad was here, he'd go mad. And I could never beat it. I remember several years afterwards, I just couldn't pluck up the courage. To try and better it. It's so stupid thinking about it.
Is there not a danger? I mean, I'm only doing this, I'm basing it on the house where I grew up, where, again, it's sort of short staircase, hard left, then main staircase, 1950s house, so a lot like that. But but then the main staircase passed under the floor below, if you see what I mean. There was a bit of ceiling. You could smack your head, and I did as I got taller, on the overhang. Yeah, no, in this case, that didn't happen. However, yes, it ours was the house has got a very tall kind of, I guess, gallery ceiling. It's a bit of a waste of space, actually. So you could jump really high, which is what my brother did. My brother almost cut the apex off the corner of the staircase. He picked the racing line, but in the air. And it was a thing to see. It was really a thing to see. And I don't know why, when you just think, why do I remember that? That isn't even important to remember. But I remember it vividly. Absolutely vividly. So there we go. Since we're digging through old emails. Well, actually, this isn't old. It's only from a couple of weeks ago. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say the name of the listener. They've signed off T, so I'll just go with that. T says he was at the Manchester Live show and he started telling you this story in person. Oh, but it got lost in the excitement. So he's emailing it in as you requested. Of course. He says a few months ago he had coffee with Tony Michaelides, also known as Tony the Greek, the famous Mancunian music promoter who used to look after Bowie, U2 and the Police, among many others. Tony told me many funny stories, but the one that really stuck in my head is this one, because it involved a transit. Back when the Police were arguably the biggest band in the world, Tony got them booked on Cheggers Plays Pop. This would have been around 1982 or 83, because Sting was filming June, the David Lynch version, in which he wears a rather unusual winged codpiece that looks like a hood ornament. In order to play on the TV show, Sting had to fly in from Mexico, where they were shooting the film. I suspect they were doing a few gigs while he was over, but this was the first one, and because of the filming schedules, time was a bit tight. Tony brought the rest of the band to the set somewhere in Greater Manchester and transported some of their gear in a transit. He was due to go and collect Sting from Manchester Airport and had planned to change cars first, but he was running really late, so he ended up just jumping in the van and herring off to the airport at the last minute. He drifted into the multi-storey car park at maximum speed, shoved the van in the first space he saw and legged it to the arrivals area, arriving just fractionally before Sting came through the gates, probably not wearing the codpiece. As they were walking, with hundreds of people gawping at them, Sting naturally asked where the car was. And at this point, Tony realised that in his rush, he'd paid absolutely no attention to what floor he'd parked on. So, for the next 15 minutes, Tony and the international rock star Sting go through alternate floors of the multi-storey, yelling to each other to say they've still not found this slightly battered transit. Sting, in his trademark northeastern accent, going, "Tony, it's not here, man!" I love the idea of somebody spotting Sting at the height of his fame and saying, "Debbie, I just saw Sting." Where? He was looking for a Ford Transit on the third floor of the multi-storey car park at Manchester Airport. That's fantastic. I mean, in that era, the police were huge, like globally huge. They played Shea Stadium and all sorts.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I mean, that would be like seeing Taylor Swift in Manchester Airport multi-storey going, "Oh shit, I've left a Vauxhall Combo somewhere around here. Have you seen it?" That's brilliant. Thank you, listener T.
An old letter from a chap called Charlie Klein.
What year is this?
This one is it's only the back end of 2024. This one.
Oh right, God, this is it's
still fairly recent actually. Sweet Smith and Sniff guys. Rummaging through my collection of 90s Japanese car tuning mags, I came across 2 issues of a mag called Wagonist. I'm not entirely sure what makes a person a wagonist, but the magazine features a plethora of Japanese estates, MPVs and K-cars modified in a way to make them look like European models of car. My question for you two wagonists would be, what's your car of choice to create one of these wagonist-style vehicles? He's provided some pictures which I'll show to patrons, because there's a Honda Orthea, which I've never heard of. You ever heard of a Honda Orthea?
No, what's that?
No, well, I don't know. That's the point.
I see, but I thought there's a picture of it.
Yeah,
a picture?
There is a picture, but the picture shows this Honda Orthea has been made to look like a Vauxhall Omega Elite. Someone in Japan has spent ages...
Why would you do this?
To look like a European car of the time. And it's even got custom number plates on it, which says The Wagonist. So obviously...
This is real then? This isn't just some kind of crazy...
I don't think this is AI. I think this is real fiction.
It's just...
I don't understand any of it.
No, I don't understand any of it.
No.
Like, wouldn't it be cheaper and easier just to buy an Omega and import it?
Yeah. The same magazine.
Am I missing the point?
Well, maybe people just like the arts and crafts of it. There's one here that says a Ford Telstar estate has been made to look like an Alfa Romeo 155, and it looks like someone's overlaid 2 photos of 2 different cars, and it doesn't quite look right. But I think it's a real car. It's really, really odd. Thanks for this, Charlie. I'm so confused. And he's put, Jonny, you need to build yourself a Toyota Origin, in brackets, retro-styled IS200 Lexus with suicide doors, to fit your Panasonic CQ-TX 5500 head unit, which I still haven't fitted to anything.
Oh, yeah.
I was actually thinking of offering it to you for your Beat, even though it's not a Honda OEM head unit. It is an unbelievable piece of audio perversion.
But the Beat doesn't have a standard stereo slot, it has a bespoke hole that a bespoke stereo goes in. So, which I need to. So, a very common problem with Beat stereos, it's branded Gathers, which I think is Clarion, but it's Honda's sort of the time. Gathers, yeah. But it's bespoke to the Beat, and it has a little sort of line drawing of a Beat on the cassette flap. But the buttons fall off, and so 2 of my buttons are missing. So I could do with either working out how to reattach them or just getting a new stereo. They did make, to celebrate 20 years of the Beat, they made an up-to-date version of the Beat stereo, which I think a listener sent it to us, actually. It was compatible with MP3 players and stuff like that. Still looked pretty much the same, but just had some more modern features in it. But annoyingly, it's only compatible with the upgraded stereo with the extra speakers, and mine doesn't have that. And also, they only made it for a bit, and now they go for like 4 figures. So it's a bit excessive.
That's a lot.
Quite cool.
Well,
Anyway.
if you ever wanted to offer up the Panasonic, and actually I have got 2 of them, and I will be selling one of them because I don't need 2 of them because I didn't even fit the first one because I'm a complete goon. I probably will be. If there's anyone seriously wants a audiophile's choice of double din head unit, the Valve Panasonic CQTX5500, just get in touch, and I will be selling one. But
yeah,
I was gonna read out. I'm pretty sure we never read this letter out from a chap called Dale Monk. This one's from 2021, and
incidentally, if you've got anything you want to tell us, do email hello@smithandsniff.com, and you too could have your email read out in 2029.
Yes, that's right. I've just finished listening to your podcast, guys, on the episode where you brought up the idea of Tutankhamooning. I actually can't remember that one because I can't remember most of what absolutely
because it was 4 years ago.
And I think I've got an idea of what the activity entails. Essentially, it involves a group of lads in a reasonably sized car. I'm not sure why, but a diesel Vauxhall Zafira comes to mind. Maybe one of those VXR ones with a straight-through exhaust and induction kit sounded like a horny pigeon when it comes off the throttle. Anyway, these lads drive around until they spot their target innocently walking along the side of the road, where they then proceed to do the following. They toot their horn, and then they moon the victim, hence the term toot and car mooning. It kind of writes itself, don't you think? Anyway, thank you for the audio delight of your podcast, blah, blah, blah. Keep up the good work on that side of things. Dale, I think maybe toot and car mooning, it's not really acceptable anymore, but I think if you to do it 25 years ago, I think it might be funny. I don't know if people would find that funny anymore. What do you think?
I'm not sure, actually. No,
I would.
It's funny because this is sort of tangentially. Sorry, I keep wanging on about my Honda Beat, but we had a message from a listener called Mark Williams who said, and this is actually from like last week. He said, it would seem I was once following Richard's car choices. It seems Mark had a Ford Ka and he had a Rover 75 and he had a Honda Beat. He says, having a Honda Beat is amazing. Why, you might wonder? Well, it's the only car I've driven or owned which was overtaken just outside Birmingham by a Ford Transit with a woman proudly showing her boobs off.
What?
Yes.
Actual skin exposure because you're driving a car that looks like a shoe.
Well, it's so hard to unpick whether all of this is connected, and it's just outside of Birmingham feels like it may not be relevant, but could be. I don't know.
That's ridiculous.
If I ever find myself in my new car outside of Birmingham, I'll report back on any of that sort of thing. But again, yes, people showing off bits of them.
That happened to me that's personally only happened to me once, and in America.
What?
Yeah, and I was actually in the car with Tiff Nadell.
Of course you were.
We were on our way to Daytona to film the 50th anniversary of the Daytona 500. And we had to, because we were press and we were filming there, we had to get there really early to set up and avoid all the traffic. So we got up at something like 5 a.m. and left. So it was dark. It was pre-dawn, I'm pretty sure. And just as the sun was coming up, we were in the car with maybe director, camera, sound man, me and Tiff. We were in a rubbish, huge Ford. Was it an Expedition? The absolutely gigantic Lego brick of a thing.
Yeah.
We rolled up. We had the windows down because I just wanted to get some fresh air because I was just feeling a bit tired. Tiff was talking non-stop. And we rolled up at the lights. We rolled up at the lights with the windows down, and another car rolled up next to us, and there were loads of like the loud music playing and loads of like partying. 2 women, 2 guys, and they looked over at us and they went, "Hey, where are you going?" And we went, "Oh, we're going to the NASCAR. We're going to the 500." And they were going, "Yeah!" And then we pulled away at the lights, and then they fell back, and then they came past us at speed. And one of them had lifted her T-shirt up and was showing us her breasts. And, and we were all so tired and shocked that nobody said anything for about half a minute. and then Tiff said something like, "Well, you wouldn't get that in Britain, would you?" Or something like that. On the way to the Formula One in Silverstone. And I just thought, well, let me go. And, it was just very amusing. And I always remember it being like, did that actually happen? I think at the end of the day, we all just compared notes and went, that happened, didn't it? I didn't think that happened. That really happened. And it was like, yes, that happened. So there we go. So
it's never happened to me, but maybe that's about to change. I don't know.
Max Log.
It'd been the other. When was it? Last week or the week before? The weather's been quite nice, and my wife and I went into town here, and we were just having a nice day of dandering around. And my wife had to go to a shop where she needs to take care of some issue that was going to take a while. And I went, you know what? Rather than stand in this small shop waiting for them to go and sort out this thing you've got that's broken, I'm just going to... It's like, it was late afternoon. I was like, we were planning to go and get a drink somewhere. So I was like, I'll tell you what, I'll go find somewhere to sit and I'll see you there. And there, outside a pub, there were just some tables and there was almost no one there, and it was just catching the sunshine beautifully, and it just called me like a siren. I was like, I can just have a pint and sit outside. And so I did. And the joy of this, apart from the joy of having a pint in the sunshine on a weekday, was there's some really good car spotting on, what was it? It was a Monday afternoon in downtown Bath. But I saw a Fiat Tipo, which completely threw me off. I was so thrown off, I forgot to take a picture of it.
Did you drop your pint?
3-door.
And exclaim.
If I hadn't been resting on the table, I would have dropped it, because I was a bit like... I haven't seen a Tipo for ages, and also a 3-door, and we almost never saw 3-doors. But it didn't look... You know, sometimes you see cars like that now, and they're often driven by quite a young person, because it's kind of their Festival of the Unexceptional kind of attendees, and they think it's cool.
It's irony. It's irony cool, yeah.
This just looked like a sort of normal, middle-aged-y sort of lady just driving it like, this is my car, or so what? So saw that. Saw an E-Type V12 went past, which
that's cool.
Again, you know, on a nice day, nice to see an E-Type, even a V12 one.
Yeah.
Saw an Audi SQ2, but it was a mini cab, which I'm still confused about.
What?
Yeah, really weird.
SQ2 mini cab.
I know. Still can't figure that one out. But yeah, quad exhaust a lot, and you went, "Why is that a mini cab? That's weird."
I've said loads of things. I've said this before. The Q2 is the only Q Audi I like. I think it's been discontinued now, anyway.
I think it has, yeah. Something else, and this just brought me... This is a bigger topic, really, but I saw a Discovery 4, and it had clear glass all round, and immediately I'm like, that's good. Nice dark colour, clear glass, tasteful. But then as it went by, the badges on the tailgate were in the wrong place. And do you ever see cars like that and you go, all right, that's been in an accident then, hasn't it?
Yes, that's right.
And it always sets my nerves jangling for some reason.
I was only, it's not entirely the same, but I was only talking to someone driving back from France yesterday, the videographer, about the fact that when Audi started putting those terrible fonted badges on the front wings of their faster cars where it says V6T, and not only was the spacing janky, but the font was appalling. It was like so many bad decisions. It cheapened the car in one fell swoop. And I just wanted to get some, like cheese wire and just shave it completely off, so I've never have to see it again. It's just so bad.
Just some dental floss. Bit of dental floss.
Yeah, floss the bastard. Floss that bastard off.
The other thing I saw, which I was completely thrown by initially, is a Mitsubishi Colt. The one that was from the 2000s?
Yes.
There was also the Smart 4.4 at the time.
Yes.
Not a particularly good car, but... They originally looked quite neat, and then they did a facelift that made it worse. So I saw one of those, and it had Viper stripes. So it was a black car with like white Viper stripes. So I was like, okay, that's
Viper.
That's an interesting decision. But then on the back, it had a badge that said Black Hawk, and I was like, oh God,
oh what?
The owner has put Viper stripes on their Colt, and then they've made up their own badge that says Black Hawk out of those little silver letters you can get from Halfords.
That's terrible.
That Audi used to do their engine badging on the front wings. And I was looking at it, but I was sort of staring at it for a minute. I was like, that terrible Black Hawk badge actually sort of looks factory, like it kind of matches the other badges on the back of the car. So I looked this up, and it was a legit factory special edition, Viper stripes and all.
I don't know what to say about that.
The Viper stripes are bad, obviously, because it's a tiny hatchback.
Well, it's not even a sporty version of the car.
No, well, that's the problem. It's not.
It's just stickers.
Yeah. But then, it's calling it Black Hawk. This was a genuine special edition, and they only made 400 of them, apparently.
Do you know what?
About 2007, I think.
So 2 things relating to Viper striping. Yesterday, those sans permis, hilariously shuddery non-car quadricycle things that they have in France everywhere. I saw one of those with Shelby stripes yesterday, and I giggled a lot about it. But the sort of godfather of the Dodge Viper passed away.
Oh,
really? The executive engineer of the original Dodge Viper, his name was Roy Sjoberg, Sjoberj. It might be Soberg, it might be a silent J. He was widely regarded as the father of the Viper. Yeah, he passed away, and he was responsible for assembling the original Team Viper, a group of 85 Chrysler employees that would undertake the monumental task of turning the concept car, which stunned the world in '89, into a production-ready car in 36 months. And I was watching a couple of... Weirdly, it got served to me on Instagram, I think. I was watching some interviews with some of the original team saying how... The odds were so against them of trying to get this car over the line with the budgets that they had.
Yeah.
But actually, it's one of those cars which, I mean, I know I have, I've got a little bit of sort of like fear over the Viper because of various past things that happened. But yeah, I really enjoyed the backstory of it, and I thought to myself, I need to drive a Viper again. I need to just swallow my fear and bloody do this and get gripped and do this. Because the original Viper looks so good with the 3... I know you don't like 3-spokes, but I don't know what's happening to me, but there's a couple of 3-spoked cars recently which I'm really drawn to. I'm becoming 3-spoked. Yeah, I'm becoming 3-spoked. Maybe I'll get a tattoo. We talked about car tattoos the other week.
And, we did, because funnily enough, in my folder of things we really must read out, although this is a bit visual, was Will Navesy has emailed in with a picture of his car-related tattoo, which is simply a really lovely illustration of a house brick with Volvo written on the side of it.
Oh, that's brilliant. I actually quite like that.
Which is good. Yeah. No, it's clever. I like that. So hats off to Will for that one.
The other thing we did talk about, which is actually so Smith and Sniff and just painfully disorganised, is the other week we recorded our 300th podcast.
Oh shit! Yeah, we did.
And both you and I forgot about it because we're complete sleeves.
Because we're useless.
We're night valve sleeves.
This is episode 305, so we've sailed right past it before we remembered to mention. And also, stupidly, I think our first episode was numbered 00, so this is both 305 and 306.
We are a cluster of flutes, aren't we?
Uselessness, yeah. We have now done... I started trying to work out how many hours of toss that is. As your brother said when you did the episode last week with him, that's a lot of hot air when you told him we'd done more than 300 eps. But
yeah, it is. It really is.
I mean, broadly, because we've done like 47 on the other side of things on Fridays, and they're half an hour.
Yeah.
So that's 23 and a half hours of that.
Oh my gosh.
I can't do the maths. Anyway, it's lots. It's a lot. It's hundreds of hours of nonsense.
And also to that end, I think it's May, so it's not far off exactly a decade ago. We recorded our first actual Smith and Sniff, which was in video form, which is May 2015. When we
Shit.
Yeah, I know. When we drove was it a Honda CRV? No, what was that car that we drove?
Oh, it was a Kia Sorento.
We drove a Kia Sorento to go and pick up a Rover V6 from a man who had lots of Rover 800s, and that was the first proper video we ever did and put out, because the original video that we sort of did as a prototype on Pebble Beach, actually on a beach in a golf cart, has been lost and never seen. Maybe it will turn up one day. I sort of hope it does. So we've done Smith and Sniff for a decade, albeit 5 years in audio form.
Yes.
So if we repeat ourselves occasionally, it's because you shouldn't be listening to this anyway, because it's a waste of your time. But genuinely, I genuinely can't remember what I say most of the time. It all just comes out like... It's like you're having therapy and you're just dribbling it all out, and then you run away and forget what you've just said. Because people go, oh yeah, do you remember when you were talking about that thing, like just a minute ago, we were talking about Tutankhamuning. I can't really remember what that was about.
No.
Which is embarrassing.
I mean, yes, that was that was a long time ago, but I guess. But
we also
even if
forget...
it was last week, there's a good chance we wouldn't remember. So it's, it swings and roundabouts.
But I want to say thanks to every single person that listens to either watch the original, the OG, the video thing of Smith and Sniff, and now listens to the audio podcast. Thanks for making it what it is. And it's still, every week that goes by, it's a bit of a shock to me that people actually care and listen. And we have built what is become a very odd community, but largely friendly. No, I'm not going to say largely, absolutely a friendly, safe space for people. For people.
Stop now, just stop. This is not getting any better.
And it's where we can celebrate the strangest of things. Like, for example, tomorrow I'm getting my Honda Insight serviced at actual Honda, and I'm getting excited about that because I'm a tragedy. I'm a walking, breathing, flesh-covered tragedy. And I can't wait, even though I bought OEM, these were on back order for 3.5 months, and I've been waiting. The original spark plugs, special iridium spark plugs for this car.
Oh, are these the ones that cost like 30 quid each?
£33 plus the dreaded. Ow. Each.
Jeez.
And I said this to I messaged Andrew Frankel from the Intercooler and said, cannot believe how much I've spent on 3 spark plugs for a non-performance car. And he's gone, could have been worse, could have been a V12. And I'm like, absolutely. Imagine if it was a lean burn VTEC V12. And then I sat there and went, oh my gosh, can you imagine a lean burn VTEC V12? The Honda would do that. But it would have been in the 90s that Honda would have done it. And we haven't found out about it.
Or, picture this, a lean burn VTEC twin spark V12.
Oh my gosh. You're just buying spark plugs every day of your life. Yeah. But imagine
talking about our failing memories, who did we say that was constantly servicing their own car?
Brian May.
Celebrity that Brian May.
Brian May with his XJS V12. We said he just every day,
right, yes.
every 24 hours he drops the oil.
Over-servicing Brian May.
Yeah. I'd love to do that as a feature. Every 24 hours, you just service the car.
So hang on, how long? Why did it take so long to get the bits for your car? Because it had to come from Japan.
Yeah, well, it's not just about that. It's just about within the Honda network, there just seemed to be none available, so they were waiting to produce them. And I think the OEM plugs are made by NGK, and the plugs are so specific, it seems, in that car that I just thought, well, it's about to turn 335,000 miles, and Honda, bless them, Honda UK were like, hey, we'll service it for you. You get the parts and bring it along, and we'll do a thorough check and a good deep service on it. So I said, that'd be great, because I'm going to film it and do a little update on that and some other jobs I've done on it in the last 12 months. But the plugs were like, yeah, these are on back order. It's saying this was back before Christmas. They go, yeah, it's saying Feb. So, damn, okay, I'll wait till Feb. I'll service it in Feb. Feb comes along, yeah, they're saying 4 more weeks, March. Yeah, gets to March, and then it's like, yeah, it's looking like April now. I'm like, what the hell? I could make plugs like from scratch. But now I've got them, and you don't have to change these plugs very often. I'm going to bloody do it. And there's that satisfaction of going, I'm going to fit proper OEM equipment to it, and I'm going to change. I'm going to get them to flush the coolant. I'm going to change all the belts, because honestly, that car continues to thrill me. Just as a beautifully engineered machine, a little joy bringer. It's great, and it's so narrow, but not as narrow as your Beat, which is very narrow.
No, but speaking of which, I've got a cam belt and water pump kit on its way from Japan.
Oh, sweet!
To have the Beat done. But I feel just having new tyres on the car is somehow satisfying.
Completely.
And I took the E up for its first MOT last week. And
did you?
They rang me, because it's 3 years old, and they rang me and left me a message and went, "Hi, Mr. Porter. Yes, just to let you know, your car's all done. Good clean pass on the MOT." And I was like, "Good clean pass?" Like, that's like a good clean kill or something like that. But I liked it. I appreciate it. Just good and clean. Good and clean on this one. Yeah.
Do you know the other thing we never talked about was the bloody reveal of the Nissan Micra, the new Nissan Micra?
Oh,
we were going to
talk
talk
about a half-assed reveal, isn't it? They've done one picture that's basically just a rendering of, and that's it. And it's clearly a Renault 5, but with a new nose on it.
Do you think it's going to be interesting? Because the Renault 5 is a great car, but it's absolutely Renault, isn't it? It's so Renault.
This is what confuses me. Looking at that rendering, it looks like they've put a groove into the top of the doors, which means they've sprung for altered pressings at least.
Right.
Which is odd, because then the shape of the door and the trim that runs around the door looks exactly the same as the 5. So I'm wondering, how much money have they spent? I've seen some spy pictures of one on test, and under the sort of zebra wrap, you can see it looks like it's got big round back lights. So it's clearly not just a nose job and a slightly different door pressing. So I wonder if the interior will be totally different. But yeah, you're right. The Renault 5, the whole point of it is it's sort of infused with Renault-ness. So I'll be interested to see how they.
And I want it to be cool, because we always talk about the old Micras, the golden era of the K11 and K12.
Well, again, the K11 Micra feels like one of those cars that's like a sort of spirit animal of this podcast. We're forever bringing them up, and I don't quite know why, but
maybe one day we'll curate a display in a car museum, and it will be, obviously the Eagle Quest will be at the very epicenter of that, but yes. We will have to surround it with chod that we constantly refer to, one of which would be a Jag, or maybe we'll have an entire room of Jags.
Room of Jags, yeah. I don't know. Anyway, I suppose hang on. So where are we? This would have to be the next Micra would be K15, right? It would be up to that by then. So
must be. I've tried to forget the last two Micras because they were a bit average. Even suboptimal.
Well,
you had the one that looked like one of those inbred goldfish. The one, it looked constantly surprised, and it was rubbish. I think it was shared with the Suzuki, but it was just worse. It's a bit like when the Ford, the KA, the second generation of KA was just a Fiat 500, but the Fiat 500 was a cooler car because it looked right, whereas the KA looked like it was phoned in.
Yeah, they had to squeeze the design onto.
Yes, it looked like
a different car.
they'd used shoehorns and goose fat to kind of get it to fit, and it wasn't quite right.
Anyway, before we get dangerously close to some actual car chat, we should bring this to a close. But before we go, three things to tell you. Firstly, Jonny's engaged in a new project where he's going to force the former lead singer of Marillion to take part in a remake of a California motorbike police person show under the working title Fish and Chips. If that's not to your taste, then there is, of course, the Late Break Show. Lots of excellent videos on there. We're recording this a bit ahead, so I won't put you on the spot. But just go and watch things on the Late Break Show.
There's some great stuff. There's a couple of like really blue chip barn finds which I've done recently, and one of them will be out by now. And
good.
I'm trying to catch up on my projects and all that. You know what I mean, mate?
And second thing I've got to tell you is I have various books out. One of them is called And On That Bombshell. It's about my years working on Top Gear between 2002, when the show was reinvented, and 2015. It's available probably in some bookshops still, or off the internet, or in your local charity shop, I imagine. And the third thing I've got to tell you, since we were talking about it earlier on, Joss Stone's real name is Jocelyn Stoker.
Oh, really?
But not Stroker, Stoker.
I was just about to say, Joss Stroker sounds like a fantastic
entirely
pre-war race driver.
Oh, yes.
And here we have Jocelyn Stroker. She's coming in hot.
Stroker's taken the lead.
I've lost count of the amount of requests we've had for Stroker-based merchandise. I'm still not convinced anyone would wear any, but we'll see. We'll see.
In the car context, Stroker means something else as well, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
So we are working on it. Some new merch will hopefully be coming soon. In the meantime, go to smithandsniff.com. You can see our existing merchandise and also details of upcoming live dates and all that. And we will be back doing this all again next week. Until then, goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
So you've enjoyed this podcast, but you've had a thought. Is there a way here today that you could show support? Well, you could join our Patreon. What wonders that it brings. Early shows and extra notes on that side of things. You could buy our merchandise. We've mugs and hats, but still no ties. One day we will make those pies, but in the meantime, guys, hey guys, like and subscribe, and maybe leave a nice review. Like and subscribe, we know you know just what to do. Like and subscribe, we don't want to take the piss. Like and subscribe, but we were told to ask for this. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
I was going to say something funny and just couldn't think of a fucking thing. Oh, it's because we've done 305 of these bastards.
Well, that's it. We're running out of momentum now.
Yeah.
Just going to put the clutch in and hope that it keeps coasting.